Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Ashley Mullinex. I work in the final expense world. I get to work from home. I'm a mom, I am a wife, and I get my weekends off. I still crush it in the industry, and today I have a very special guest, Johnny Nitafan. He also crushes it in the space in the industry. In your best month, Johnny, you did $100,000 of approved annualized premiums. So welcome and thanks for chatting with me today.
Thanks for having me on. It's a privilege. It's awesome seeing what you're doing, and I fully support you with what you're doing. And guys, if you're watching this, Ashley's an amazing person. So glad to be on here.
Thanks, Johnny. I appreciate it. You're a good human too. So
Appreciate
I
it.
kind of good people. So I kind of just wanted to, for those of the people who are watching who don't know you, who have never heard of
hmm
you, I mean, obviously you're pretty big in the space. You share a lot of what you do and how to be a good producer on your YouTube channel, but
Yeah.
kind of walk us through like how long have you been in the space? What was your journey like and what led you to that type of production?
Yeah, it's definitely it's definitely something I always wanted to be great at something, right? It started when I was a kid. I wanted to be a professional baseball player, and then it turned into a basketball player, and then it turned into an entrepreneur, and that's when really my journey started when I was 18, and I decided, hey, I want to start my own business, right? And so I was like, I don't think that school is actually for me because it's just this is not what I actually want to do. I want to actually run and own my own business, but doesn't seem like school is actually going to get me there. But I did believe in education, but I was just like, I'm going to teach myself and I'm going to figure it out, right? And so that led me to dumping literally what I worked really hard for at that point, $8,000, just dumped it into starting a business because I knew even if it wasn't going to give me returns right away, I was going to be able to get the money back at some point and in experiences, right? At the very least. And so I did that. It was good for a little bit, flopped, but it was cool to actually have ownership of something, even though I did fail 6 months in, which is totally okay. But I didn't know how to sell and I didn't know how to market. I'm going to come back to this a little bit, but I, I've actually like as I've reflected on my journey a lot more, I've realized the only way you are successful in a business is successful is if you have to have skills to be a really successful business owner. So I'm gonna get back to that. So
Mhm.
fast forward, I start working at Starbucks. I'm proposed to my now wife now, like yeah, my wife now, and pretty much I was just like, okay, I'm gonna figure this out. I'm gonna work full time. I'm gonna stop school after I failed 3 semesters straight. I was like, I'm
Oh,
done. I'm not gonna do it anymore. But I was never like I've always been a hard worker. It wasn't lack of work ethic. It was just like not interesting to me because I was
wow.
like, it's a means to an end. So that's when dropped out full time, what was full time at Starbucks, ended up getting married, and then I got introduced to the industry. And so I've been introduced a little bit to the industry. There's two really key moments that I remember. But I remember my father-in-law and like mentioning to me, hey, I think you should look into being an insurance broker. And I was like, that is definitely not for me. Which it's honestly might be most people's stories, right? And so I never thought that I would ever step into the industry. I never thought it was interesting. It's not something that I like desired to do. But then when I really looked at my life and really looked at my goals and I didn't really care about the vehicle
Mhm.
as much as I just want to get to the destination, right?
Right.
That's really all that I cared about, and I wanted to be able to do it as fast as I could. And so I was just like, I need to be able to get to a spot where I can literally immerse myself and I can actually see the results.
Hmm.
And so at Starbucks, I immersed myself, I got promoted, and then the next promotion was like, you make an extra $2 an hour or whatever it was. And I was like, this doesn't even make sense. So what can I actually deploy to be like, hey, even if I have to risk a little bit more, I'm more willing to do that because I know that I'm going to figure it out and work through it and
Right.
really work through the learning curve. Well, that's when I got into insurance and figured out, hey, you can make 6 figures. And the guy that I was learning from, he did it when he was 20, and I was actually 20 at that time. So this wasn't life insurance. This was actually business to business, selling insurance to businesses. And so that's what I did. I would route myself pretty much on Sunday nights. My wife and I would be watching Netflix or whatever. And then I would have my computer out and I'd just look at like pockets of businesses that I can go to and knock. And my goal was like
Like
40.
cold, Just
Yeah,
cold
just straight
knocking.
up cold door
Okay.
knocking businesses walking in. Hey, is there any way you can help me out? Who like owns this place essentially? Or who's the business owner? Who's the CEO or whatever it is, right? The decision maker at that point. So, and I was just setting appointments. And so that was really my entrance into the industry. So then I did $30,000 my fourth month, which my total commissions was $1,500. And I was like, dude, there's got to be a different way. And this is when I stumbled upon the different YouTube channels in the insurance and the life insurance space. They were
Mm-hmm.
doing 30,000, taking home 15, 10, 15, 20,000. I was like, you know what? This is what I want to do. I remember, so I got in the industry in November. I remember going to my wife in January and telling her about the opportunity. And she's like, that literally sounds like a pyramid scheme. And I was like, no, 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 I promise it's not. It's literally just life insurance. That's all it is. And so then I was like, okay, you know what? It is what it is. I kept listening to podcasts and then I went back and I was like, you know what? I'm like actually serious about this. I've interviewed about 10 people now, like individually, just on the phone. I really do want to pursue this. And so that's what I did. And so I remember going to an event, flew out to Indiana. That was my entrance into the life insurance space. Bought leads, kind of did the thing. But if you guys don't know my story, like my first 9 months, I sold a lot of insurance. I did the thing, right? I bought leads. I did what everybody does. I recruited 70 people in 1 month. I started in March and I recruited that was actually when I did my $100,000 month. So that was like
Okay, hold on.
working
Pause
seven
for a
days.
second. I just have so many questions right there. So just like you just zoomed into the space and then you join an IMO and you're
Yep.
there how many months you said?
So I was at my first IMO for 2.5 months.
Okay.
In between that, though, my first IMO, I was actually 5 weeks into the industry, the life insurance space. I go on Cody Askin's Ultimate Agent, met a bunch of
Which is
mentors there.
cool. Watch that. Make good memes out of
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So it's on the YouTube channel, right? For Cody Aston's. That was really awesome. Great experience flying on a private jet for the first time or the only time ever. That was awesome. But yeah, 5 weeks into the industry, I'm on the show. There's cameras just like this. In my face, there's GoPros, there's all sorts of things. You're mic'd up throughout the
Wow.
day. It's a high pressure environment. I'm literally going against people and competing in this competition with people who've been in the industry for 2, 3, 8 years,
Yeah.
10 years. And it was literally my entrance into it. And so that's when it was like, okay, this is really tough. There, I was like shining for a little bit, got cut, and got sent home. Unfortunately, that was like, it was a great experience overall,
Mm-hmm.
and it stretched me to the next level. But that's when I met a lot of different people inside the industry
Okay.
that were producing at a high level or built teams and recruited really well. And I literally ended up going with one of the people from that show and joined his agency after that. And
Okay.
that's when I really mastered telesales. And so that was my entrance into telesales. Now, from there, I did that for about 4 months and then I switched to IMOs again, literally went back to the original IMO, which guys, if you're watching this, like you do your due diligence further, like way more upfront and
Yeah.
don't do it on the back end because it's way more of a nightmare. You burn bridges, you burn relationships. I personally like regret that. That's one of my regrets that I have in this space is I didn't do enough research. I just kind of jumped in, listened to what people said, rather than kind of look at what's really going on. Um, and that's one thing, just like full transparency about the industry is that everybody's trying to recruit.
Mm-hmm.
And so you just have to be aware of that and understand that. And so um, if they're saying, hey, you should look at your contract says XYZ, and like I didn't look at it, I was just like, oh, okay, I believe you. And it's like, okay, and they would take you to the extremes. If you died right now today and you had a big agency, yeah, your wife wouldn't get any money. But if you come over here, then we literally have a clause in writing that your wife's going to get this money. And so then I switched. And then it was like, okay, but this company, you literally get equity in the company. It's in writing. You could do that in 18 months, and that's going to be multi-million dollars, and you're going to be a multi-millionaire. Well, it's like, I don't know. It's just there's so many different things and little things
Really.
that everybody has it, but overall they're very similar.
Okay, so
Um,
let me ask you this. The first IMO that you were with, you followed whoever it was from the YouTube TV series that you were on. You were there
yeah.
for a portion of time. and then you went to the other. You had said that you had recruited some agents. So in the mix, right when you got off of that channel, were you starting to produce? Did you already have like a really good script? Where were you at as far as a
When I did,
producer?
so I recruited a little bit right away. It was just classic friends, family, whatever it was. Didn't get a
Okay.
lot of traction there. Then I went to Ultimate Agent. That's when things really started like taking off. I had an influx of people just reaching out constantly. So I did that. I was really good in set, and I did have a script then, but it wasn't as it is now, obviously. But that's when I recruited a little bit more. But then when I really took the bull by the horns is when I switched the third time. And that's when we recruited 70 agents at $100,000 in 1 month just on my own pen. And it was a lot. But then the next month it was just like most of the agents got contracted or licensed and then they don't do anything. Then like the policies that I wrote, some of them don't get issued. Then I do like $20,000 the next month. It's just kind of like I don't know. It's when you literally burn yourself out. You go so hard, work 7 days a week, don't take any time off. You work 10 hours a day for 31 days straight, even more sometimes 12, 15, whatever it was. Like you just burn yourself out. You get
Yeah.
tired. And so it just wasn't sustainable. So you have this huge growth, which is awesome, and then you build all this goodwill. You have all these people that are looking up to you. You recruit them, you make your hard sell, and then boom, now it's just gone. And now you don't have really a bank to go back on. Now you can't, there's no way you can recruit 70 people again the next month. So it's just kind of like
Right.
you bring all these people in, you can't really fulfill on that. And it's just kind of like, here's my number, text me if you want, show up to the calls, and that's pretty much it. There's not
So
really like
let
a
me
training
ask you
process
for
in
yeah,
place.
for other agents who are listening to your journey, because
Yeah.
this is a big deal in this space, right? Everyone is huge mass on the recruitment aspect, and there's a lot of work
Yeah,
if
it's
you do
bad.
it right to like help other agents out. So for you, would you recommend, like, at what point would you recommend to an agent in the industry saying, hey, if you are here and you have done this, now might be the time to entertain pouring into someone else? Because it sounds like you did the thing and it wasn't the right way to go about it. Is that fair to
Hmm.
say?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I mean, it's too, people trick themselves into thinking they're too smart. I mean, I'm just speaking from experience. I tricked myself into being like, hey, I've been in the industry 6 months. I've been on the reality TV show. People are saying, my upline, they're saying that I'm ready to recruit. So I am ready to recruit. Like, let's take this on. Right. And so it was just a bad overall. And if I were to go back, I would have just kept producing and just kept making content. And I would just do that for a lot longer because I learned from my mistakes. And then I took the first half of 2023. I took that first half and literally ditched all the people I recruited, over the 100 people I recruited in the 3 months,
Yeah.
literally left that agency, left everybody there. And I said, pretty much, I'm leaving. I'm not telling you where I'm going. I'm going off somewhere else and I'm going to figure this
Going to
out. Well,
Antarctica.
yeah, I'm staying in life insurance. I'm not telling you where I'm going. Stay here. They're awesome. They're great. Blah 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 blah. Just stay there, right? And so, because I was also afraid that like there would be legal action and so on and so
Oh,
forth.
yeah. That's a
Because
real
IMOs can
thing.
definitely be like that, which I get it. So, yeah, anyways, I was like, hey, I'm leaving, I'm gone. And so that's when I figured out how to generate my own leads. I took that time I was putting into other people. I was like, I need to put that for me into like my business and actually making money myself, figure this thing out. So I like one thing there's been a few moments that like literally I'm able to make my focus like it's all out here. It's kind of like all over the place, and it's just kind of like, oh, this sounds good, this sounds good. But doing that and just literally cutting it off and committing and going somewhere in a different direction, that's when I like my focus has narrowed. And honestly,
Mhm.
one thing that has really helped me narrow my focus and really solve bottlenecks and really um like move faster than most people would is by shifting my focus. And the way that I've done that, especially recently, is by investing into coaches, consultants, like courses, different things like that. That always shifts my attention into one thing and one thing only. And
Mm.
then when I'm able to do that, then I'm able to learn all the stuff that I need to do, fully immerse myself, speed up the
Yep.
learning curve as fast as possible, and then I'm able to move on to something else. And so that's when, like, when I quit, I was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to figure out this marketing side because I already know how to sell. I'm just not making money. But what's really the missing piece? It was the marketing side because I was buying 30, 40, $50, $60 leads at a 70% comp. So when I'm getting a 115, 120, 125 comp, generating my leads at three, I mean, that at that point, beginning of 2023, I was generating leads at $1.80, $1.80. And I was just ripping. And I wasn't tracking my numbers by any means. I was just tracking acquisition costs and I was getting 30, 40, $50 maybe.
Mm,
And then it got crept up to $3, then to $5. And now it's just kind of a little bit sub 10, whatever it is, $5, $5 to $10. Anyways, I learned the marketing side and I
right.
just sold. And that's when I was like, I'm actually making money. I can live with this. And then I tricked myself again 4 or 5 months in. I was like, you know what? I'm ready to recruit. And then when I'm spending all my time recruiting, then my production drops. And it's like, dude,
Mm,
this is like so much. So for my advice for all agents out there is don't bite off more than you can chew and don't trick yourself that you're different than anybody else because the reality is you're not. And this comes back to the very first thing I wanted to say is that you have to build skill sets. And so there's three different things that you have to be really, really, really good at to really scale your business, your agency, right? The very first thing is going to be sales, obviously, like you actually selling yourself. Then it's going to be marketing could be that's kind of like a 1A. It's as far as that goes. I mean, you obviously actually know marketing good enough, but at the same time, like you can have other people do it for you as well. So that's
mm,
kind of a 1A. The second part is going to be like actually teaching somebody else how to sell. Like what are the phrases you actually say? How do you actually overcome this certain objection? How do you do these certain things? And so you have to really manufacture how you did it or how you learned from it, and you have to go into that and actually be able to teach, right? And then like marketing is going to be as a whole, but you have to learn how to, it's sales, fulfillment, and marketing, right? Those are the three buckets. And what does fulfillment look like for this looks like actually being able to train agents. This looks like actually being able to deliver as far as that goes. So get really good at sales. You got to be able to market the opportunity. You got to be able to market whatever it is. You're marketing your YouTube channel, you're marketing different things, you're marketing for clients, you're marketing for agents, right?
mhm.
There's all these different things that you learn over time, but once you start getting really good at one skill, then you move on to the next one. But if you try to build both, you're just going to end up like me and just kind of going broke and spinning your wheels over and over. And you feel busy, you're doing a lot of positive things that are good, but you're not going deep into one and getting really, really, really good at one,
Right.
right? So
Right.
that's what I'd say is the business is built on skills. And if I were to start over, I'd really focus and put a heavy emphasis on skill sets and
Nice.
like learning sales. If I could learn sales, everything feeds through sales.
What
You
was
could
your,
be,
oh, go ahead.
yeah, I mean, you like, even though I went into debt, I was still alive after 9 months and I was spending a lot of money on leads, right? Most people would have just got like most of the peers that I came into the insurance industry with are out now. And so the only way I was able to, even with a 10 times the amount of lead cost and similar closing rate, even though I had that, I still was able to keep my head above water. Even though I went down $15,000 seems like a lot, it's honestly in the grand scheme of things not that much. I mean, it is, right? I'm not going to take that like minimize that as much, but what I'm saying is the only way I was able to stay in the business was because I was good at sales. And once I learned that, and then I paired decent marketing, not even that good. I mean, I was 3 weeks in, literally tripled what my biggest month in profit was before then.
Because you
So
controlled both aspects of this.
exactly,
Yeah, you controlled
exactly.
both sides. So let me ask you this. So with your script, because you have a really good ironclad script, right? People in your community, they use it day in and day out. You got guys like Maxwell producing 10K easy a week, right? Hitting
Yeah,
the
he's at
top.
like fit. He did 19,000 the other week.
Yeah,
He's
I
done
saw
15.
that. Come
He's done
on now. What is
15,000 this week so
that?
far, and it's Thursday. It's just like, what the heck? These people are
Yeah.
like that's what's cool is seeing other people. You come in and they're done better production than me. I mean, that I've done that before, but to see him really take the bull by the horns is really awesome. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say. So it's like your script, right? What was your journey with the script? Did you use someone else's? Did you blend scripts together? Like, how
Oh,
did that
you
come to be?
blended 100%. I mean, you take a little bit of this, you take a little bit of that, whatever it is, right? And so the only I wouldn't like if you're a new agent right now, like I need like listen very closely, find one script and just memorize that. One thing that I've like recent because I've relearned a lot of the similar stuff and like the students that I bring in, I've gone through this similar process recently as them, right? Like one thing that I've learned is with sales, conviction is everything. You have to have conviction. The person who has the most conviction is going to win at the end of the day. You have to be acting in their best interest as well. And that's where conviction comes from, right? You're genuinely helping them and you're having compassion. Your tonality gets better as you're more convicted, right? So that's besides the point. But as far as this goes, like if you don't understand and know your script back, like left, right, up, down, whatever it is, you're just not going to win because you're not going to be actively listening. And then when somebody says, yeah, it's you can hear like now I can hear objections and I can kind of stop them and prevent them before I even get them at the close and what I'm asking, right? So a lot of that comes and you it leads to objectionless closes, but the only way that you're able to really hear what a client's saying, even though they don't like say it verbatim, you can hear what they're saying and you can really hear the deeper thing instead of staying on the surface level is by knowing your script, right? The reason why you memorize a script, right? Because you don't have to be glued to the script, but your script has to become your words. And the big mistake that I see agents make is that the script isn't their words. And so it's hard for them to have a good conversation because they're thinking about what am I supposed to say next? What's the next part of this thing? So they're looking at their screen, they're trying to figure it out and reading it rather than you know exactly where it is. That's just kind of a reference point. You know exactly where you're going to lead because at the end of the day, you closing somebody is a game of chess. And so if you use questions, here before I go into that, beginners focus on the questions they should ask, but professionals think about the answers they need to get. The questions are just a means to an end, but the script is there because if you truly understand, and Ashley, you are phenomenal at this. If you truly understand what answers you're supposed to get at each point, the questions are just there to be there, right? But a common mistake people make is they go through a script that's really laid out, really well laid out, right? Your script, my script, whoever's script, it's really like laid out. But then you go through the same script and you close. Somebody goes through the same exact script, doesn't close. Why? Because they didn't get the answers that they're actually looking for. Each part of the script is there for a certain reason. So stick to one script, and each part is like once you get each answer, then you can kind of move on. But like you say, right? You don't move on until you get the answer that you're looking for. And so if you
Absolutely,
just
you
kind
don't
of
move on
glaze,
until you get, yeah, you don't.
yeah,
And it goes
you
back to like what
don't.
you said too, conviction. So I think it's also like what you're saying now is
Yeah.
the answers, knowing the script, right? So you can get the answers that you need, but then also the conviction. And you don't have the conviction if you don't know the script. How are you going to have absolute certainty in what you're talking about if you don't even know where you're at in the script? You don't even know where you're going to take the person after you ask the next two questions.
Exactly. And that's what I was saying, that it's a game of chess, right? Like if you use the questions too early because you're not getting the answers you're looking for, then you're going to run out of questions. And you're not going to be able to lead them to the end result that you're looking for, which is obviously making the sale. And so you have to be able to use your chess moves wisely, and you can't waste all your moves up front. And all of a sudden, you're just going to get waxed on the back end. So you have to be able to, the less questions and the less questions you ask, the more impactful they actually become. So you can't. Well, another thing is, and I was out doing a call review yesterday. You have to when you ask a question, ask one question. Don't say, don't like this person was like, yeah, what specifically were you looking for? Like, were you looking for this? Or were you looking for that? Because sometimes people want to cover, like, were you looking to cover the burial or cremation? It's like, whoa, what? You just use three really, really, really impactful questions if you ask them in the right place, in the right order, at the right time. But you didn't. So now you just wasted three moves that once you ask that question again, they're going to be like I said earlier. And now whenever I hear, like I said earlier, or like I said, that's when you know the prospect is telling you you're not listening to me. You never want somebody to say that. And so you want to always be actively listening in the way that you do that, obviously by asking questions. You understand? Okay, that totally makes sense. I get that. I hear you on that. And then you ask a question, boom, right there.
Right.
So
No, that is amazing. And that's such a good point too. You never want to hear, yeah, I said that. That's
It's
not good.
horrible.
Not good.
It's horrible.
Wow. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Johnny. So couple of key things, skill, right? That you highlighted so wonderfully for us. Conviction wins and one question at a time. I think that is a huge, huge takeaway. So for everyone who has just met you for the first time, kind of let everyone know where they can find you at, how, if they want to reach out to you, ask you some questions, kind of fill them in.
Yeah, so reach out to me. Just follow my YouTube channel. Give everything away for free. Johnny Nitafan, Johnnny, Nitafan, Nitafan, or follow me on Instagram. I just actually did a complete breakdown of my like updated new script that I kind of just made some tweaks on. Definitely go check that out on my YouTube channel. And then if you want the actual script, DM me the word script. I'll actually send that over to you for free so you can just learn it and execute on that, right? Because it's all about the formula that you use to get the end result, right? Don't worry about the questions that you're asking. Think about what answers that you are getting at the end of the day.
Yeah, beautiful. Awesome. Thank you so much, Johnny. I appreciate you hanging out and talking to me today. I think this was great, especially for agents needing to hear this kind of stuff. I appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you having me.
Yeah, bye, Johnny.
Peace.